Hey everyone, and welcome back to the People vs. O.J. Simpson, an American crime story. By the verdict's in, we are covering episode 6, and this is our react/review podcast for it. We've watched the episode twice now. Gary, what'd you think of it?
I thought it was pretty good. I haven't really been disappointed with one of these shows yet. All the episodes been great. This was a big Marcia Clark episode, though.
Yeah, I really liked it. Got to see more of Marcia Clark, and I kind of felt bad for her already, but I really felt bad for her in this episode.
Yeah, this episode kind of make you feel bad.
Right. All right, so we're going to break it down, this episode, into different little categories. And first on our talks conversation, I would like to discuss Marcia Clark. Her appearance, they've already kind of talked about a lot throughout the season so far.
Yeah.
But this time, the media went really hard on her appearance.
Right. We think this celebrity gossip and all this other stuff is new. But as you can see, this has been going on.
Right.
You know, back then, they weren't worried about what, I guess, Kim Kardashian was wearing, what the next celebrity was wearing. Marcia Clark was the it thing then.
Yeah. And at the end of the episode, she was saying, I'm not a spokesperson. I'm not like a celebrity. And just even when she goes into court, it shows all the people, camera taking pictures of her. And
right.
She's a lawyer, and now she got turned into this she's, prosecuting this big case. And now she's becoming a celebrity without even her permission of becoming a celebrity.
Yeah, all her business getting put out there.
Right. So we see them talking about how she dresses and how she's just too hard with the dark clothing.
And that was the funny part. They were talking about an OJ case. They said, before we go into that, let's talk about Marcia Clark's style.
Right. Right. And it's like, these are people still. And I guess sometimes, yeah, it's entertaining, but it's so wrong on so many levels because this is a person and she didn't ask to be judged for what she's wearing or how her hair is. I can only imagine if I was in that position how I'd feel if someone was judging me for that when it has nothing to do with my capability of doing this case.
Right. This don't have anything to do with the case now.
So they talk about her hair. So she goes and she gets some new haircut.
Yep.
And when we watched it the other day, I was like, I do not like it. But we watched it again today, and I'm like, it kind of looked not half bad.
It fit her.
Even though I don't know why she went, maybe the curly look was in back then.
Yeah, maybe she was naturally curly.
Okay.
So she just wanted to keep it there, but tighten it up.
Right.
And you heard her stylist said, I did this for Farrah.
Right.
I don't think of Farrah who.
Right, because we looked at Farrah Fawcett pictures, and I didn't see her look like that at all, ever.
He was talking about his cousin Farrah.
But I don't know. Everyone stared at her. So do you think? Oh, because then, I was gonna say, do you think people liked it? But on the news, once again, on the articles, the Globe and the National Enquirer, all those sleazy articles, they were saying her haircut is guilty and curls of horror.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you like it, or what did you think of it?
I liked it.
Okay. And what do you think the OJ people thought? The Dream Team.
I thought the judge was inappropriate.
What did he say?
When he said good morning to her, and he said, I think.
Oh, yeah. What did he mean by that, though?
It was just inappropriate.
Okay.
It was something that shouldn't have been said in the courtroom.
Yeah, there was a lot of inappropriate stuff, even the Dream Team. Okay, so something else that was big, and we already knew since day one, or episode 1, because it talked about it. She's going through a divorce. And her husband now is saying that he wants full custody. And he did some slimy shit.
Well, he wants custody until the case is over with.
Okay. What do you think about him when he went on camera or went to the news and was like, oh yeah, she said she was with the kids last night. I was with the kids.
I mean, it shows that any and everybody could be a media whore.
Right. I'm like, why would you, even if that's your ex-wife, why would you put your business out there like that? That's the mother of your children. You keep your private life private. That it had nothing to do with the case. Why were you there getting interviewed anyways? It had nothing to do with the OJ case.
Yeah, it was wrong on so many levels.
And then another thing I thought was wrong with the whole her divorce case is when she, at the beginning, when she was in court, and she was being inappropriate. And she's like, and, objecting and all that stuff. But the judge on her divorce case was like, I'm not Judge Lanto. I'm not Judge Lance Ido.
Yeah, that was kind of weird for a judge to say.
Yeah, that was it was unprofessional.
So that makes me think that the judge really said that. Well, we talk about the show. So
Okay.
yeah, the judge said that on the show. So
Okay.
but that was inappropriate.
And then even Johnny saying, as long as we don't have any more childcare issues. And I loved when she put him in his place.
Right.
Because it was unprofessional. It was disrespectful.
Yeah, it kind of hushed him up.
Yeah. But the judge didn't. Well, on the show, the judge didn't say anything. He kind of just looked. But when she was like, it was rude of him to say that.
Yeah, that's really nothing the judge can say.
He knew.
Yeah.
All right. So her naked picture getting released. I never heard about a naked picture of her. So that was news to me. What did you think?
I remember the nude pic.
Really?
Yeah.
Imagine if there was Twitter back then.
Man.
Oh, gosh. It would have been crazy. She better be lucky it was just those sleazy articles back then.
Yeah. What was the Inquirer?
Yeah, the Inquirer. It had the Globe.
Yeah.
So she has 2 horrible, bad ex-husbands, right?
Right.
Because she said it's not her husband that she's divorcing now. It's a previous husband.
You know what? Maybe she's the problem.
Maybe she is the problem as far as why she's getting a divorce, but she's not the problem as far as why her husbands are willing to release pictures of her and put their business in the street. So, yeah, she may be the problem as far as why she got divorced.
You gotta really hate somebody to do that.
Yeah, you gotta hate someone or just be really money hungry or attention hungry, because I'm assuming he got paid.
That's a good point. Good point. He could be money hungry.
Yeah, he probably got paid for that picture.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the other guy,
he definitely got paid.
The more recent husband, he probably just wanted that little 5 minutes of fame by going on camera and talking about her.
Plus, they're in the middle of a divorce.
Oh, yeah, so it just makes him look better.
Yeah.
Well, we get F. Lee Bailey, and he says the N-word a good 5, 6, 7 times in this episode.
Yeah.
What did you think about him using the N-word to ignite or to use it in an interview to ignite fire or get a reaction out of Detective Mark Fuhrman?
I mean, it was his strategy. He went with it. I don't see a problem with it.
Do you think it worked?
I guess it serves its purpose.
Yeah, because it showed the jury, and they kind of were looking like, either way, he was damned. You know, damn if I say I use the word, damn if I say I don't, because you guys aren't going to believe me.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it worked, though.
Yeah, it served its purpose.
All right, let's talk about the witnesses. We had several witnesses this episode. Some of them were actually good for the prosecution side, and while others were actually good for the defense side.
I think one was good for the prosecution side.
Who is that?
That was the nanny.
The housekeeper lady?
Housekeeper, yeah.
Yeah, Miss Lopez.
But if you think about it, all the other ones backfired.
They did. Well, let's discuss Miss Lopez since we're already on her. What the hell was she wearing, first of all, to court? And I know we're bashing people for...
What the hell was she smoking?
I don't know. She was like the worst witness ever. Why did they not prep her first and see that she was going to be a bad witness, the defense side? Because that was their witness, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was theirs. I guess they wanted to get her out of the way.
No, but they should have never even used her. She was a bad witness.
Yeah.
She was... Okay, first off, she came to court with a velour sweatsuit
reasonable
on.
Doubt.
Yeah.
But if she said that she seen a Bronco around the same time that they were supposed to be committing the murder, then that would put reasonable doubt into the jury's head.
It would if she had kept the time the same. She said 10 o'clock, 10:15.
But I don't think that's much of a difference. 10
yeah,
o'clock, 10:15.
10 o'clock, 10:15 is not that big a difference.
I think how Marsha worded, like, which one is it? You know, it's going to make somebody kind of stumble. Like, and like I said, does it really matter?
Yeah, but this lady... I mean, I'm not going to outright say she was lying, but she seemed like she was lying.
She seemed like a shady character.
Yeah, she seemed shady. I mean,
you know what? She might not have been lying. I think she just didn't want anyone in her business. She said that she kept getting hounded by reporters. They're calling her like all hours of the night and everything. I think she was just ready for this to be over with.
Okay. I had a problem with her wearing that velour sweatsuit to court. I know Michael Jackson famously wore
that was probably
pajamas.
in, right? That probably was in then.
No, but you're going to court. It doesn't matter what's in at the time. Daisy Dukes are in. You don't wear that to court. You wear business casual at the very least.
Maybe they don't pay her enough.
I don't know. I was just like, why did Johnny? I don't know who's to blame for that one. Johnny. That's why I'm not surprised OJ was yelling at them. Like, what the hell was that? Like, I know he was mad because it was like, who coached her, you know? And she's like, Mr. Well, she kept saying Mr. Johnny, whatever Mr. Johnny says.
Well, I think they wanted her to come natural. so the jewelers could kind of relate to her. Like, okay, this is what she do. She's just an everyday person.
Yeah, but she also lied right there on the stand. When Marsha said, have you bought your ticket? Or when are you leaving? Have you bought your ticket? She, yes, I bought it this morning. And she said, well, I don't see a reservation for you. Well, I'm buying it after I leave here. And he's like, hold on, you just lied under oath. You just said you bought it this morning. So if I was a juror, I wouldn't believe what she was saying because she seemed shady, and then she actually lied within a minute after being asked the question.
Right. And you see that the Dream Team didn't ask her any questions.
Yeah, because they're probably like, what the hell? Never mind.
They're probably ready for her to get off the stand.
All right, so our next witness was one of Nicole's friends. I didn't catch her name, but...
I think it was her sister.
Oh, was that her sister?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's crying over... Well, she's sitting on stage or on court on stage. And she's crying because she's talking about a story where OJ grabbed Nicole's crotch and was like, this is mine and this is where baby's coming from. And where the prosecutor thought, oh, this is perfect. She's crying. The juries are going to, relate to that. And they're going to feel sorry for that. And remember what we're here for. Whereas OJ was like, they see that she's being fake. She's crying on cue. She's crying. She's overdoing it.
Yeah.
So who do you think was right? Because they both seem like they thought they won that one.
I think sometimes people can see through the BS.
Okay.
See that you're crying on cue. See that it's just a little over the top.
Yeah, I guess I think it was a little over the top only because the story she was talking about wasn't a cry-worthy story.
Right.
It wasn't like I remember when OJ beat her ass. It wasn't that type of story.
Yeah, like she would have told a story like that, then it would be cry-worthy.
Well, yeah, but this one was like, okay, that was a little inappropriate, but whatever. If Nicole didn't seem bothered by it, why are you sitting here crying by it? You said he didn't seem mad at the time, so I don't know why she was crying.
Yeah, I think she should have told a different story.
Yeah, but maybe that was the worst story she had to tell.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, even though we knew there's been 62 instances of some type of domestic violence.
Or police calls.
Maybe she's never witnessed any of those, so that was the worst thing she could see. I mean, I'm assuming that's the worst thing she could tell, or she would have told something worse.
Okay, yeah.
She saw him beat her ass. She would have been like, man, I remember he beat her ass right in front of me. She would have told that story.
Right. So
I think that's one win for the prosecutor so far, one win for the Dream Team.
Yeah.
All right, our next witness was one of the detectives, and he's giving a statement on how 3 detectives came over and how they went to the crime scene. They left the crime scene and went to OJ's house, and that's when the Dream Team is like, is that usual?
But I've been saying that was weird since episode 1.
Right, that all 3 of them, like, why would you leave the crime scene?
I thought it was weird for any of them to go over there.
Okay.
I mean, that's a phone call to be made.
Right.
Or you go to immediate family.
Yeah, it seems like, because they weren't married anymore. It seems like her immediate family would be the one you call first.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that it was any shady business going on. I'm just saying that that's just weird.
Right. But that's what Marsha Clark's saying. She was like, it looks a little shady. She even asked, I think she was asking Chris Darden, is that usual for 3 detectives to go over and leave a crime scene and go and try to look for the next of kin? 3 of them?
Right. And not only the next of kin, go to an ex-husband's house.
Yeah. Okay, so the next witness we get, though, I really liked, was another detective. And we first get introduced to him because he's out in the hallway laughing it up with Johnny Cochran. And I knew something about Johnny Cochran, the way he was laughing. I was like, man, this dude is up to something. Like, he's playing this guy, but I couldn't get the angle.
Yeah, he was fishing.
Yeah. And even when the guy said, he lives in Semi Valley, I still didn't even catch anything, even though they kind of got weird and got quiet with each other. But once he takes the stand, I realized what happened. That detective, he's saying that, I don't know why, he went home after he got the evidence from the case. And he had the evidence in his car. It was parked there for 6 hours at his home. And he lives in Semi Valley, which happens to be the same place that the police officers in the Rodney King beating lived.
Right.
So I don't know if they were saying, like, all of Semi Valley is, like, racist, nothing but racist people, or could those racist cops have got the evidence?
I mean, I think that was a all right point that Johnny made. But the biggest point, I think is, why would you put evidence in your trunk and go home?
If it's late, oh well, you got to take it to wherever evidence goes.
And his shoes, I guess, supposedly had blood or something on it. But why didn't he feel that was evidence up front? He said, well, he didn't know what he had there. I mean, obviously you picked that up for a reason.
Right.
So that's another weird thing he said.
Yeah, it starts bringing doubt. Even though, yes, some things, every case is different. There's always going to be something weird that happens. There's always going to be something unusual that happens. But when you start pointing out this was unusual, the 3 detectives going from the previous detective, the 3 detectives going to look for OJ, and then now this person brings evidence home, and this is the first time ever in his years of being a detective. I believe he's been a detective for 18 years, 28 years on the police force, but 18 years as a detective, and this is the first time you brought evidence home. It does start to sound fishy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. He's guilty of not making a good decision of bringing that evidence home. Well, I don't know. What did he say the reason was? Was he tired and he just wanted to get home?
No, he said he didn't know what he had. He didn't look at it as being evidence at the point.
Then why would he have put it in his trunk?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what made the story sound kind of fishy, like you said.
Okay.
That why did you pick him up in the first place if you didn't really see it as evidence at the time?
Okay.
I mean, were you just trying to steal the man's shoes?
Yeah.
Were you just going to rock them later?
And then him living in Semi Valley, the same city as the racist cops from the Rodney King incident, I would say that I wouldn't make any connections to that. I mean, I'm glad they did. That's something I would have done if I was a lawyer. But me personally, just as a public person, I wouldn't make any connections because maybe that's where a lot of police officers live.
Right.
You know, so that to me wouldn't be nothing big.
No, not at all.
But of course, I would make that connection if I was in Johnny Cochran's case.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because you want to put it out there while it's fresh in people's minds.
Right. People still remember that. Even though it's 2 years later, that Rodney King, you don't forget something like that. You know, that's something that's going to stick with people.
Yeah. Like now, let's say he brought it up in today's time. Like Simi Valley. You know, a lot of people probably wouldn't know what he's talking about.
Right.
Like, okay, the Rodney King it's not really that fresh on our minds right now.
Right.
I guess there's just been so much other things that happened since then that, you know, took focus. But like I said, I guess he brought it up right then and there because that was
still fresh.
Still there. Yeah, it was still the elephant in the room.
Right. All right. So the next witness is Detective Mark Furman, who I noticed had like 2 other detectives or 2 security guards walk him in. Was he considered a flight risk, or was that for his own safety?
I think those were just his escorts.
Okay.
And it could have been, I mean, I don't see why he would have safety issues, but you never know. Case was such a high-profile case.
Right. I wonder if he was getting any death threats or anything like that.
Maybe.
Well, that's when, he's asked questions about what happened that night, and he sounds like a really good witness, actually, when Marsha Clark was asking him questions.
Yeah, he does.
But then when F. Lee Bailey brings up the N-word, and he says he's not sure if he's ever used the word, or, and he's like, what, you don't remember when you used that word? And F. Lee Bailey kind of got him good there.
Well, he still seemed like a good witness.
He still
seemed like he had his emotions under control.
Yeah, because he wasn't getting upset or anything like that.
So he didn't break. So, I mean, I think he did a good job on the stand.
Okay.
I think he did a good job on the stand, but I think F. Lee Bailey did a good job in his questioning.
Right.
Because when he said, well, I'm not sure, F. Lee Bailey said, what, you won't remember if you said that word? Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a good follow-up question.
Right.
But I think both of them did a good job.
Okay. So out of the 3 detectives questioned, we got the first one that mentioned how 3 detectives went to the house. I guess we can say that the defense team won that one. And then the next one saying how he brought the evidence home. The defense team won that one. And then Mark Furman, would you say, is a draw?
I think it's a draw.
Okay.
I think it's a draw because how he held his emotions under control.
Right.
But I don't think they're finished with him.
Oh, no. I think we're going to get a little more of him.
Right.
And then you see people, it showed people watching it from home, and they're like, dang, can they even say the N-word? And then you see some other people watching it from work, and they mentioned, they're like, oh, bring this person back because it's he was fun on the scene. And it almost makes you realize people are forgetting that this is a court case and they're kind of looking at it as entertainment.
Right. I mean, the same way we're looking at it right now.
Yeah, the same way, yeah. All right, so the last thing I want to discuss is Johnny Cochran. I was very surprised when one of the reporters comes up to him and says, hey, let's talk about your domestic abuse incident. And I was like, what?
I wasn't really surprised.
You weren't?
No.
You knew about his domestic abuse incident or whatever?
No, I remember in one episode he was talking about how his daughters, he barely talked to his daughters, or they barely talked to him. And I knew there had to be a serious reason for that. Like, just a divorce don't do that.
You know what? I didn't even put two and two together, because when he said domestic abuse and then he called his ex-wife, I didn't even put two and two together that the girls from the other episode were probably from a previous marriage.
Right.
I just assumed when it always shows his current wife that his kids were now older and they had moved out of the house.
Oh, okay.
So you're thinking the girls are from the first marriage, probably.
Right. They were.
Okay.
Because remember the episode he said, yeah, well, my daughters barely speak to me.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of figured it was a nasty divorce or something happened or he probably just abandoned them. And I'm like, I didn't think he abandoned them because he has the means to take care of, his daughters also.
Right.
So I knew it was like something else that they weren't saying or something else that he didn't say that happened.
Okay. Because even when he calls the ex-wife, you could tell that he has to, I think he took a shot of liquor. He had to take a deep breath, let me get this over with. And then you can even hear resentment on her end because she's like, are you there? She's like, I'm here. But
you see that she didn't just put his business in the street, though.
Yes. At least she handled it better than Marsha Clark's, both of her ex-husbands.
Because this is still the father of her children.
Well, I don't think she didn't put it in the street for that reason. I think she was going to see what he was going to offer her. Because she said, I said I had to get my recollections in order.
I don't think that she would want to see what he was going to offer.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I don't think that she probably thought the phone call would be made by him. I mean, that was a random phone call out of the blue.
I don't know. When I heard her...
Just because they called her doesn't mean they talked to him yet.
Yeah, but I the way it sounded to me, I thought she was waiting for something to be offered.
I didn't get that. Because when he offered it, she didn't jump on it. You didn't hear her jump on it right then and there.
Because she probably knew, it was already going to happen. Let me see what he's going to offer me. If it's going to be big enough, if it's going to be big enough, cool. If it's not going to be big enough, I'm going to have to let him know it's no-go.
No.
Okay. I guess we interpret it two different ways.
Yeah, I didn't get that vibe at all. I'm pretty sure with Marsha Clark's husband, they didn't know what they was going to ask Marsha Clark or Marsha Clark was going to say. They just came out. It was like a self-serving thing that they did.
Right.
They did it for their own good. With her, she could have just sat there on the phone, was like, oh yeah, Johnny ain't shit.
Right.
Yeah, he did this. Oh, check this. She could have brought up stuff that wasn't put out there in the media, or they didn't have records of, and just said he did this. He did. Oh, I remember that he couldn't even take our daughter to school that day. So it's a lot of things that she could have put right there. If she was bitter or self-serving, I think she could have put it out right then and there with the first conversation. But she did the okie doke, was like, oh well, let me get my regulations together and I'll call you back.
Okay.
How often do people usually call people back after they hang up with them or say, oh well, let me check on this, I'll call you back?
Yeah.
That call back almost never happened.
Right. Okay. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt though. But we can agree that he paid her off. He paid her to keep quiet.
Oh, definitely. He definitely paid her off.
So was that illegal what he did? Or because he used his words right?
Yeah, he used the words right. I mean, really, I would say that is illegal. But then again, it isn't.
He's a lawyer. He knew what to say. He was like, I just recently sold the house and I thought you should get the money from it anyways. Right. I was going to call you anyways.
Right.
Okay.
And that's all he had to say was like, okay, this house was her baby.
Right.
So I don't feel like I should keep the money for it. I thought, you know what, she should have it. Maybe she could buy another one.
Right. So I thought he played it smart.
I think she deserved this house.
Right. So I thought he played it smart, but I want to know, was he violent all the time or was it a one-time incident? I'm just curious if we're going to hear more about this domestic abuse.
I hope it comes back up, but I doubt it.
How did the reporters know about it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's public records.
Like if someone had to call 911.
Like how they knew that the police were called like 62 times from the Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that means the police had to have been called at least once for them to have found out.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a really good episode.
Oh, it was.
I think we're finished for now, and we should be back next week. And our podcast will actually probably release a little bit earlier now that American Crime has gone off. We only have 2 shows to cover.
Yeah.
For a little while until Empire comes back on. But we would love to hear your guys' feedback from the show. Host at theverdictsend.com. That's HOSTS at theverdictsend.com. And you can also like us on Facebook or Twitter at The Verdict End. And leave us a review and rating on iTunes if you like listening. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm Nicole.
I'm Gary.
Bye.